Hi, Tim Williamson at Keylets, and I quickly want to go through what full management means to us, and give you a handle on how we work in terms of looking after our landlords and making sure the hassle is taken away from you, and that we're in full control of managing your property. So, really from the beginning, if you like, we work on the basis that we filter our tenants correctly, we reference them correctly, we then make sure that there are processes and procedures in place to ensure that the tenancy moves smoothly, that if there's anything that needs to be addressed, it can be addressed quickly and efficiently, and that you're part of that journey, if you like. So when it comes to looking at tenants, we have filters in place. So we start off with, obviously, when a tenant inquires about a property, we will ask them, if are they in full-time employment, are they on working, on benefits, for example, do they have a pet? Those are the sort of key three questions that we will ask, and they'll obviously then have an idea of who we're looking at when they come to view a property. When they view a property, we have an application form which they fill in, and at that point, when they hand in the application, we look for a holding deposit from them equal to a month's rent. So we work on the basis if this is a filter, this is if the tenant hasn't got the deposit, then obviously we're not going to go forward. But it does mean that they're generally keen on your property, and we will then start the referencing process. Now, we will continue to advertise a property online. We will take names and numbers should that tenant who has applied fall out. But generally, I would say 99% of the tenants, having paid the deposit, will go ahead. Now, we then, having vetted the tenants and they passed everything, got their property organised with yourself in terms of the compliance, etc. We organise an inventory for you. We get the tenants moving in. They will do a proper sign-in. Now, I know on the government new lease, the PRT, there is a digital sign. We don't work that way. We're old-fashioned. We prefer to see the tenant actually sign the copy. In fact, they sign 3 copies, one for you, one for the tenant, one for us, so everyone gets an original copy. And then there's other additional paperwork as well that supports that. And you'll get your copy, obviously, of the lease and that supportive paperwork for your own files. So there's nothing hidden, and you can be confident the work has been done correctly. So the tenant moves in, we do the inspections, we check the property, we keep in contact with the tenant, and the tenant obviously pays the rent. If a rent was, for example, missed by a day or so, we will immediately contact the tenants. We have a strict arrears procedure. It ties in the rent in with the rental protection requirements in terms of a period of time in which we've got to notify them. And in that time, we will ascertain as to whether the arrears is a genuine oversight or if it's something more serious, in which case we can address it at an early stage and then obviously keep you in the loop. When it comes to maintenance, we use proper tradespeople. We have an automated system online that the tenants can go in. They can report a problem. They can send photographs. It's called FixFlow. We also have a 24-hour number that tenants can call if it's an actual emergency, like a fire or a flood or something like that. But it means that we are contactable. Now, when it comes to the maintenances, we use proper tradespeople. We don't use anybody and then just charge you an extra fee for doing that work, or commissions or whatever that are hidden. We absolutely open in that. We get the tenants, we get the trades to provide an invoice that you can then put against your tax, and everything is accountable. And we just also make sure that the guys who work for us are fully competent and indeed have the correct insurances, etc., to protect you. So we'll get a statement each month telling you how much money's gone into your accounts. You'll have the invoices sent to you, so you can put those against your tax. You'll have obviously copies of the leases, and obviously if there's any questions or whatever, you can come directly to me or one of the team. So we work professionally. We work to get the best results from our tenancies. We keep the tenants in the loop as well, so they get feedback in terms of if things are getting done or not getting done, and so we work together in order to make sure that you have good long-term tenancies that are protected. Now, the thing is, yes, we're good at what we do. We've been doing it for over 25 years, but I think you need to be aware that there are some things, some properties in some areas that we won't accept, or we just don't get involved in. Now, basically, we have found over the years that there are some areas where we find it really difficult to get the kind of standard of tenant that we're looking for, and therefore we don't go into those areas. So if, for example, you've got a property, or your focus of your properties, if you're purchasing properties, are in outlying areas, say Cumnock, Patna, some areas of Ayr even, where there's low-cost properties like the White City, where they're really cheap properties. We are not in that market. Primarily, we are looking for working tenants, or tenants who are maybe on benefits or supported by benefit, but are willing to pay a month in advance and a deposit equal to a month's rent, so they're equivalent to a working tenant, and have a working guarantor on top. Now, that means that these are not the bottom end of the benefit system. We are not in that market. So, in truth, if that's the kind of property that you have, then I'm sorry, but Keylets is not the best fit for you. You need to find another agent who maybe works at that level of market. We're looking for the good quality tenants, the ones who are going to pay their rent on time, respect the property, live there a long time. And yes, yes, there is a market, but if you're in that bottom end of the market, then that's not for us. So I'm sorry to say that, but I'm being honest here. Anyway, so hopefully, that's giving you an idea of what we do, where we're coming from, and we can then, do business. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.